He came to Wisconsin earlier this year to lead the University of Wisconsin Colleges and the University of Wisconsin Extension, but instead he found himself, despite being new in town, as one of the UW system's point people on the turbulent budget debate. Good morning, I'm Mark Koehn, sitting in for Neil Heinen on this Sunday morning. It has been an interesting first few months on the job, to say the least, but now that the dust has settled somewhat, how does Ray Cross feel about the budget and its potential impact on education? And what is the future for UW colleges? We'll find out as we welcome to, for the record, the new chancellor of colleges, UW Colleges and UW Extension, Ray Cross. Thanks for being here this morning.
Oh, thanks for having me, Mark.
Just for people that aren't familiar, just explain what the UW Colleges and Extension are.
Well, the UW Colleges is a collection of 13 campuses around the state. They offer the first 2 years of the liberal arts education for transfer into the University of Wisconsin or elsewhere. It's an excellent liberal arts preparation for completion, for entering into programs that allow you to complete a bachelor's degree elsewhere. The extension, of course, most people view extension as an ag-related entity. We do that, and we do it well. But we also serve families in the counties. We provide nutrition education. We do a lot of, we of course are the 4-H organizations. We are the public broadcasting entity, public television, public radio. We do a lot of things in that area. Plus, we are an entrepreneurship arm. We have the whole, we lead the Young Entrepreneurs Network and a whole division on small business development centers and so forth. So extension is more than just agriculture, but it's also an outreach of the university. It truly is the university extended to the people of the state in ways that probably a lot of people don't realize, but it's an outstanding service.
And you're in all 72 counties?
72 counties, that's right.
You got a lot of stuff under your umbrella, don't you?
Yeah, it seems like there's 172 of them at times.
You took this job, you accepted the job in November, and you arrived in Madison in February. And a lot has changed in the state in those few months. Any regrets?
Oh, none whatsoever. As I mentioned to you earlier, I think they had a different definition of opportunity than I did. But in reality, as a leader in education, you don't get very many opportunities to participate in the process that could transform an institution like in a higher education institution. You don't get many opportunities to do that. And to be a participant and to have a meaningful role in that process was the chance of a lifetime. So you don't get very many. Now you can mess it up, and hopefully we didn't do that. But to participate in that process was exhilarating in many ways. You
became one of the point people for the university. You were at the Capitol for this entire process. What was that like?
Well, I'm snickering because there were a lot of really moving moments, and also a lot of wonderful moments sitting and talking with legislators and understanding the stress and the pressure they're feeling to try to deal with a deficit like they were facing, like the state is facing, and to do it in a reasonable and responsible way, all the while feeling the pressure from a lot of different forces. It was interesting to observe, but it was even more interesting to be a participant in the process.
The university is going to have some big budget cuts coming their way. How are you going to deal with that?
The good part is this. Almost every state that I've been a part of and every state that I'm aware of, the higher education organizations, the public higher education entities in those states are facing similar kind of cuts. The good part of what's happening in Wisconsin is the governor and the legislature, through the efforts of many, are seeing fit to give us some flexibilities to help us deal with those. Now, are they going to solve our problems? No. But they're going to help us handle those issues much better. And going back to the specifics of your question, Mark, it's also true that we're going to try to find ways to generate additional resources, to save money, not directly as it relates to the classroom if we can help it. Our goal is to make cuts in overhead or in areas or in categories that would not directly impact the classroom. Our goal is not is to make sure students don't see a difference. Now, can we do that? I don't know. It's going to be difficult.
One of the big projects you worked on was WISCNet, the internet service, and that remains intact, at least for now. Tell us about that.
Well, WISCNet is a separate entity from the University of Wisconsin, though it's tightly related, and the clarity of that relationship is what's in question. Is it truly an independent organization? And that's what we're going to try to deal with. The process changed when the Joint Finance Committee suggested that we look at this differently, that we should not be in the business, the University of Wisconsin, of supplanting what the private sector can do.
And this is broadband internet for libraries, universities.
Providing internet service, high-speed broadband internet. And that debate has been going on. There have been a couple of legislators that have been really key players in this process. Representative Voss has helped to facilitate a conversation between the university, between Extension, between the telcos. So we're collaborating. In fact, next week we have a joint meeting where we're trying to find a compromise so we can work together to best serve the people of this state. We want the rural areas as well as the urban areas in this state to be served by high-speed internet. It is analogous to the interstate highways in the 50s and the important role they played in moving goods and services around. And it's similar to the rural electric cooperative. If we can do those kinds of things, it transforms the economic development activity in a region in ways that we can't even envision right now. Moving data in a high-speed fashion is critically important to everyone.
And under this budget proposal, it's just guaranteed for 2 more years, though, and then what?
Well, we should have this grant completed within those 2 years. So the grant portion of the broadband that will bring high-speed internet to specific areas or regions in the state should be completed by then. WISCNet is going to be audited by the Legislative Audit Group and analyzed in terms of how it's functioning, why it's doing certain things, is it violating, I happen to know the particular statutes, 49.11, paragraph 36, that's more than you needed to know, Mark. But are we in violation of that? In essence, are we providing services that the private sector should be providing? We want to honestly look at that. We want to be wide open. Here's what we're doing. If we are in violation of that, how can we get out of that? We shouldn't be. So we're trying to sit down with the telcos and have that conversation in a way that benefits them as well as us. Because part of the grant, part of the broadband grant, is to increase their enrollment by almost 23 or 24,000. So that's part of our effort as well.
And you think you can do it better than the private?
No. Let me see if I understand that question.
I mean, provide the services.
Well, the university, the whole purpose of WISCNet is to provide services to ourselves, particularly for high-speed research, internet access, those kinds of things. Internet to the CERN project, all of those things have limitations on the role of the private sector in that activity. And I think, can we provide better internet service than the private sector? No, but in select areas, we need to do it ourselves, and that's what this is all about. That's what WISCNet's supposed to be, a cooperative that provides these services to ourselves. So I think we can provide it as well as the private sector. But our goal needs to be such that the private sector makes profit as well, and does well. Because that's ultimately the group that serves everyone in this state, and we want them to do well, be it BadgerNet or any small telco or AT&T. They need to do well.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to continue our conversation with Ray Cross right after this.
The crux of our concern is really about that impact on the research enterprise, and the fear that we would just be shut out, or if we weren't shut out, it would cost us millions of dollars at a time when we're figuring out how to manage, multi-million-dollar budget cuts.
Welcome back to Forward to the Record. We're talking with Ray Cross, the new chancellor of UW Colleges and Extensions, who just started this job in February. You came from a small 2-year college in upstate New York.
A 4-year college.
4-year college. Okay, tell us where you came from.
Yeah. Well, I came from Morrisville State College, which is a part of the State University of New York. It's sometimes called SUNY Morrisville. It was formerly a 2-year institution granting degrees mostly in agriculture and technology, Mark. But over the last 12, 15 years, the time that I was there, we developed about 27 different bachelor's degrees and were authorized to become a baccalaureate granting institution. Serves about 3,500 students, relatively small.
The list of accomplishments, and I know you are modest, is pretty impressive over that time. What are you most proud of?
I think there are several things. It's hard to say which child do you love best, right? We were very aggressive in reaching out to the community to play a role in economic development, particularly in rural communities. We developed Nelson Farms, which was it's a food processing co-packing capability, and we ended up serving, before I left, about 400 clients, producing a variety of jams and sauces and salsas and cookies and things of that nature for the commercial market. In essence, we created almost 500 entrepreneurs in that process. So I was really proud of that, and we were visited by representatives from all over the country to try to emulate that. And I think entrepreneurship plays such an important role in the future of our economies, particularly in the rural and small town communities. If we can develop ways to produce and create entrepreneurs that can allow them to grow and flourish and move from category 1 to phase 2 to phase 3, that's a tremendous role for universities, and it's typically not one that we have participated in a direct fashion.
You also got rid of all the landlines on campus, I understand? Everybody got a cell phone?
Well, every student
Every
did.
student?
Yeah. We actually removed all of the landlines from the residence halls and issued students cell phones. It was a part of a 4-phase strategy, and it was a little goofy, Mark, but this is the way it started out. Every student was issued a laptop, and that was the beginning, and we called that mobile computing. And then we realized that in order to use that, they had to be tethered to the internet in order to make it work. So then we were the first institution in the country to go to a wireless network. Now, we picked an early version of a product that's no longer available. It's like picking beta system instead of HS. But it worked. It was really good. And students loved it, and our whole campus was wireless. And our third phase was what we called the social computing. We wanted students to be able to interact. And we found that with a cell phone and the ability to use that, of course this is in the early 2000s where not everybody had a cell phone, our retention rates improved dramatically. Really? Well, there was more, what we do know, if you can get a student to become engaged early in their experience, they're more likely to stay. And that's part of the cell phone.
Interesting.
Was to promote that, and it had an impact.
You said after 13 years you were going to retire in Morrisonville. What changed your mind?
Well, this opportunity, I guess, it was an exciting opportunity. I came to the interview thinking that I wouldn't be a good candidate, that I wouldn't really fit the job, and it turns out that I started interfacing with some of the folks, some of the people that I would work with, and seeing what the purpose of these two organizations are and how they fit together, and that really got my juices going. And I personally value what we stand for. We are an access institution, providing maximum access to the resources of the university, be it through the colleges or through extension. Both of those organizations they exist for that purpose. How do we give people access to the resources of the university? And I've cited the Wisconsin idea, and I've tried to adapt it in other states. So I've always embraced that, because I thought, this is great, this is outstanding. And I value that a lot. And I think that's really important, particularly now. The people in the state now need the resources of the university to help them in ways they may never have. And hopefully we can be a part of that.
What would you like to have taken from Morrisonville to here, to the system here?
I actually enjoy spending time with students. In this job, I don't get to spend as much time. I remember fondly those days in the classroom where you just finished a great lecture and you're still sweating and it's just been an exciting lecture, and the feeling you have after you've just done a great job providing a lecture with students is just a wonderful feeling, and I miss some of that, and it's taxing to be a great teacher. It really takes tremendous effort and enthusiasm and commitment to try to figure this out and how to deliver it in a way that's exciting. So I miss that part of it. At the same time, I've replaced it with the enjoyment of having an impact on a lot of classrooms.
Yeah. And you're returning to your roots a little bit. You're a Big Ten grad, right?
Yeah, Michigan State. I shouldn't say that too loudly. Well, wait a minute, I'm on television.
All right, and you also were in Minnesota for a while as well.
Yes, I was in Minnesota for 6 years, that's right.
Well, that's the past. We're going to talk about the future with Ray Cross when For the Record continues. We are talking with the new chancellor of the UW colleges and UW Extension, Ray Cross, on For the Record on this Sunday morning. You just started the job in February, and you spent a lot of time on the budget at the Capitol. You really haven't had a lot of chance to put your mark on the colleges and extensions, or have you?
Actually, we're just starting the process of strategic planning and vision development and those kinds of things, and I want to be very careful because I don't want it to just be my vision. I want it to be owned by the people throughout the organization, and I think that's really important. So we're trying to create an inclusive process that allows us to do that.
Do you have a wish list?
Yeah. Well, I want $1 gazillion. You can write the check if you'd like.
Okay, we'll work on that.
Yeah. I think one of the things we have to do on the extension side is to become more engaged in urban issues within the state and find ways. We are engaged. We're engaged in nutrition, family living issues, and there's no question about that. But the perception on the part of a lot of business leaders and a lot of urban leaders is that we're really a rural or an ag organization, and that's not necessarily true. And it's important, and because we can do a lot of things in that area to help those communities, and I think that's something we need to figure out how to do. Helping
communities that are also facing budget shortfalls. You fill in a lot of blanks there.
Oh yeah, and families that are facing financial crisis as well. And we can help with that. And we have a lot of issues, not just in urban communities, but we have a lot of issues related to obesity, childhood obesity, and things of that nature that we need to play a role in. Because those are issues that ultimately cost us as taxpayers a lot in terms of health care and related kinds of things.
Even with the budget cutbacks in the budget that is about to be signed, does the future look bright, do you think?
Well, I'm probably the wrong person to ask, because to me the future is always bright. As long as I can play a role in it, that's probably an unfair statement. But I look at things very positively. There are a lot of things that we're now in a position to do that we were not. We have better tools. We have better. Our faculty and staff that work on these issues are more committed than ever. And the passion that I've observed on the part of people to participate in solving these problems never been higher. Their senses seem to be more acute. And if you think about that, that's wow, that's fantastic.
How about new degrees at the two-year campuses? That's something you're working very hard at, I understand.
We have been authorized to offer a new bachelor's in applied sciences, and in partnership with several other the comprehensive institutions to particularly serve individuals in communities that are place-bound and adult learners. And that's a really important aspect, and I think that's another piece of our mission that it needed to be added, and we're really pleased with that. Yes, we're excited about it.
And it makes university education more accessible and affordable to a lot of people.
Yes, and also helps them in their career path. The employers we talked to who helped us develop this degree, it is a liberal arts degree, but if you talk to employers, the 4 or 5 most important things they want someone who has good analytical skills, someone who can write well, someone who can participate as a team a team player who understands how to do that. Those fundamental things that we want in all employees are an integral part in a broad way of this kind of an education.
UW-Madison Chancellor Biddy Martin surprised a lot of people recently by resigning after just 3 years to go back out east. Did it surprise you? I mean, what was your reaction?
Well, obviously it surprised me, but very positive. I think, of course, Biddy's a good friend, and I think she'll do well there. I think it may actually be a better fit for her. But Biddy is a creative, aggressive leader, and she's trying to find ways to solve problems as she sees them. And I think she deserves a lot of praise for the efforts that she put forward to bring to the attention of leaders in this state the importance of flexibility and the hindrances that we face with bureaucratic kinds of encumbrances.
She wanted to break off UW-Madison from the rest of the UW system. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Well, obviously I disagree with that, and she and I had several conversations about disagreeing. But reasonable people do disagree, and academics especially disagree. That's part of the sifting and winnowing for truth, and that's what we're after. In her mind, and I think in the minds of a lot of folks, the creation of a separate public authority was the only way they could achieve the flexibilities they needed. In fact, I think the governor felt that way. But we got a lot of those flexibilities, not all of them, in this budget without creating a new chapter or without creating a public authority, which I think is healthy. I really do, and I'm pleased the legislature did that.
And now you can get to work.
Yeah, oh yeah.
After a few months of not being distracted, it's time to buckle down and do the job you're hired to do.
Yes, and I think I look forward to that as well.
All right. Well, we appreciate it. You liking Madison? You liking the...
Oh, absolutely. We have a new house. We like it very much, and I enjoy the people I work with. And part of it is it seems like we're all on the same page for the same purpose. We may differ on how to get there, but the vision and mission of these organizations is so compatible with my personal values that makes it important.
Exciting times. Welcome to Madison.
Thanks,
All
Mark.
right.
I appreciate it.
We'll be right back. My thanks to Ray Cross for being here today. For more information on UW colleges and UW Extension, check out the website on the screen. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next week on For the Record.